And that is sin.
Amen.
And you can go and say, I know I should, I know I should, I know I should, but it's never going to get you anywhere. Anywhere good. It may get you somewhere. It got these guys somewhere. And we're going to find out where. So they wept and cried. And staying in chapter 14, verse 11. And the Lord said unto Moses, how long will this people provoke me? And how long will it be ere they believe me for all the signs which I have shown among them? He can ask the church the same question today. How long will this people provoke me? How long will this people not believe me? I have shown myself to them. I have proved myself to them. How long will it be till they actually believe me and do what it is that I tell them to do? Go to verse 22. Because all those men which have seen my glory and my miracles which I did in Egypt and in the wilderness, and have tempted me now these 10 times, and have not hearkened to my voice, surely they shall not see the land which I swear unto their fathers, and neither shall any of them that provoke me see it. Let me ask you a question. How many of you have ever seen God move in your life? Work in your life? Do amazing things in your life? I've seen God do some really amazing things. They did too. And God asked Moses the question, how long will it be before they believe me? After I have shown them myself. After everything that I did, the signs and the wonders and the miracles that I did. How long will it be before they believe me? And how long will it be before we believe God? We say we believe God. They said they believe God. We say we believe God. They said they believe God. They said they believed God, but they didn't go where God told them to go. We say we believe God. Are we going where God told us to go? And again, I'm going to say this. We talk about we need a revival. We need a move of God. Well, why ain't you got one? Because God just ain't able, right?
No.
God don't do that kind of stuff anymore. We live in a whole new time. Why don't we have it? If I get a move of God in my life, or I get revival in my life, it's not dependent on any of you.
That's right. That's right.
So, what is it dependent on?
Me.
Me and God.
That's right.
So there's a problem somewhere.
That's right.
Is it there?
No. It's us.
It's got to be here.
That's right.
It's got to be here. We talked in Sunday school about no fear of God and not living a righteous and a holy life. And people are not to be that way. What people?
Us. That's right.
It was said in Sunday school. We think because we're not out doing the big thou shalt nots, we're good. And I made this statement. It doesn't only say thou shalt not, it says thou shalt.
That's right.
You shall live holy. You shall live righteous. You shall live according to my word. There's been a lot of talk for quite some time about revival, about a move of God. We saw that here recently, the thing that went on at that college, and some other things in places. I hear a lot of rumbling and talking on social media about things that are going on, about things that people are planning that are coming up. I believe the church needs an awakening. But the church ain't never going to get an awakening until the individuals in the church get an awakening.
Amen.
The church ain't never going to get a revival until the individuals in the church get a revival.
Right.
We're never going to have those promises of God until we do it God's way. You know, in the past, there were some great revivals. And I've read some on some of those revivals, and they started with somebody really getting hungry for God, crying out to God. And then people would join them, and other people would join them, and it grew. The question was asked in Sunday school, if you know you're not where you're supposed to be, you pray to God, hear you. If I know I'm not where I'm supposed to be and I pray for a revival, is God going to send me a revival? We can gather and pray. Well, we can scream and we can weep and we can cry out and we can do it for a month. But until I clean this up, until I get this right, until I'm where I'm supposed to be, I'm not going to get it.
That's right.
God promised me I could live in joy. God promised me I could live in victory. God promised me life more abundant. God promised me everything that pertains to life and to joy and to peace and to godliness. God promised me all those things. And he said I could live in them, not just visit once in a while.
That's right.
But in order to live in them, I've got to be obedient to God. I've got to live according to God's book, according to God's way. He told these people, he said, how long will this people provoke me, and how long will it be ere they believe me, for all the signs which I have showed among them? We say we believe God. We have seen the hand of God. There are people in here who have seen miracles. And now we sit and we say, why isn't this going on? Why isn't that going on? Why do I have to live like this? God said, I have given you these things. Go get them. But we let the giants stop us. I know I should, but he said, because these men which have seen my glory and my miracles, which I did in Egypt and in the wilderness, have tempted me now these 10 times, have not hearkened my voice, surely they shall not see the land that I swear unto their fathers, neither shall any of them that provoke me see it, but my servant Caleb, because he had another spirit with him, and hath followed me fully, him will I bring into the land wherein he went, and his seed shall possess it. What was the difference between the ones who didn't go and Caleb?
He had the Spirit of God.
Yeah, it said, he had another spirit with him and followed me fully, completely, 100%. Verse 28 of that chapter, say unto them, as truly as I live, saith the Lord, as ye have spoken in my ears, so will I do to you. Your carcasses shall fall in this wilderness, and all that were numbered of you according to your whole number, from 20 years old and upward, which have murmured against me, doubtless ye shall not come into the land concerning which I swear to make you dwell therein, save Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, and Joshua, the son of Nun. He said, because you have not believed what I told you and done what I told you, you're not going in. You're going to fall in the wilderness. God gave them opportunity after opportunity after opportunity. God has given us opportunity after opportunity after opportunity after opportunity. When is the last one? I don't know. If we don't adhere to God, is he going to allow us just to live out the rest of our life like this? Don't you want something better? Don't you want to live in the promises of God? We can keep saying no. We can keep saying I know I should, but we can keep saying there are giants and live the rest of our life. And I'm just going to say it. You can be miserable and go to heaven.
That's right.
I know some pretty miserable Christians. You can be miserable and go to heaven, or you can be full of joy and go to heaven. You can be miserable and go to heaven, or you can enjoy your walk here and go to heaven. He said because they didn't believe, that's it, I'm done. I'm not going to offer it anymore. They're not going into these promises. They can wander around the way they are until they die. We can too. Go over to verse 39 of that chapter. And Moses told these sayings unto all the children of Israel, and the people mourned greatly. And they rose up early in the morning, and gat them up unto the top of the mountain, saying, Lo, we be here, and will go up unto the place where the Lord hath promised, for we have sinned. And Moses said, Wherefore now do you transgress the commandment of the Lord? But it shall not prosper. Go not up, for the Lord is not among you, that ye be not smitten before your enemies. For the Amalekites and the Canaanites are there before you, and ye shall fall by the sword, because ye are turned away from the Lord. Therefore the Lord will not be with you. But they presumed to go up unto the hilltop. Nevertheless the ark of the covenant of the Lord and Moses departed not out of the camp. Then the Amalekites came down, and the Canaanites which dwelt in that hill, and smote them, and discomfited them, even unto Hormah. So these people had the promises of God. God told them, go into the promised land. I have given you this land. It is yours. They saw how good it was and said they could not do it. God told them, because you didn't believe me and because you wouldn't go, you're never going to get in. And what did they do? They said, okay, now we're ready. But reading down through there, did you notice that the Ark of the Covenant of God stayed in the camp? Remember last week when I taught, how did they go in? They had to follow the Ark of the Covenant. They had to follow God. God was still in the camp, but they thought they were going to go do it. And what happened to them? They were destroyed. They were put on the run. We can't keep rejecting what God says now and then come along and think, well, we need this and we need that, and we'll just plan something. We'll just put something together. We'll get a certain preacher. We'll get a certain musician. We'll get this and we'll get that, and we'll have it. If God's not in it, it ain't going to work. If God is not leading, it ain't going to work. You have to go when God says go. You have to move when God says move. If we don't, it's not going to work. We're not going to get the promises of God. As I said, I truly believe that we need an awakening. We need a revival. Whatever you want to name it, whatever you want to call it, we need a move of God in our lives. We need a move of God in our church. And I believe, based on what God has been sending as far as messages and what He has spoken to my heart, that the opportunity is there. But in order to take advantage of the opportunity, we got to face down those things that are stopping us. We got to start living a righteous and a holy life. We got to stop saying, I know I should, but we got to stop putting other things ahead of God. Whatever that other thing is, you know, it can be family, it can be your job, it can be whatever it is. We got to stop putting those things ahead of God and follow Him. And when we do that, He will lead us into that place. As I said earlier, when you journey with God, every step is supposed to get better. But what happened to the children of Israel? They come out of Egypt following God. They crossed the Red Sea following God. They went to Mount Sinai following God. And then they started not listening to God. And they started worshiping other things. They started, remember the golden calf? They put other things ahead of God. And in our lives, if we take a good look at our lives, maybe we can see we've had that kind of a journey. And then what happened to them once that happened? They just started going around in circles. You ever feel like in your Christian life you're just going around in circles? It's the same, it's the same, it's the same. It's not as good as it could be. It's not as good as it should be. It's not as good as it once was. I remember when I came out of Egypt, I saw God part the Red Sea. I saw God do amazing things. How long has it been since you really saw God move in your life? We're just going around in circles. That's what they did. Because they wouldn't obey God. They got all the way up to the edge of the promise. They could see it. And then they never experienced it. They ended up just doing that. The rest of the time, that's what they did. I believe that we can have a move of God in our lives. But you've got to decide, do I believe God or not? Do I want to go in to the promises? Do I want that abundant fruit? Do I want a dwelling that I didn't even have to work on? Do you remember when they finally do go in? God gave them houses that they didn't build. God gave them fields that they didn't plant. God gave them animals that they didn't raise. Everything was prepared for them. God provided it all. Spiritually speaking, we can have that. We can live in that kind of a place. But the only way to do it is first ask yourself the question, do I really believe that or not? And I'm going to tell you something, and it may sound harsh or judgmental or whatever. You can think whatever you want to think. I'm not too sure we really believe that. How much do we really believe God? Everything depends on that. Because we don't really believe God, then we're going to continue to do what we're doing. We're not going to change anything. We're not going to move up. We're not going to move forward. We're not going to strive to live righteous and holy. We have to really believe God. I want to use this for an example, and you probably all know somebody that has said this. I know I should be in church, but anybody who said that, if they really believed God, would be in church. Because God said, forsake not the assembling of yourselves together as a matter of some. So how much do we really believe God? And, you know, I use that example because it's pretty common. I hear it a lot. But how many of us in our lives say, I know God would have more for me in this area, but I know God would have me to do this, but how many of us do that? Why do we do that? I submit it's because we don't really believe God. We don't have that fear of God that we talked about in Sunday school. We think it's all right to live however we want to live, and God will just put up with it. And for those reasons, and many more, and we don't have time to go through all of them, but for those reasons, we live in a wilderness. Well, it's not really a wilderness because things aren't that bad. Well, the children of Israel were in the wilderness. God still took care of them. He provided water, He provided manna, He provided quail. He still took care of them. But look at what they could have had. I'm not telling you God's abandoned you and God's going to abandon you or anything like that. If you're a child of God, God is there for you. But there's so much more you could have. So much better you could have. And it's just a matter of asking myself, do I believe God that that's true? Is what Brad is standing up there saying really true? Will God give me those promises if I really live for Him the way the Word says I should live for Him? You got to decide if you believe that or not. And if you decide you do believe that, then you got to act on it. And if we act on it according to the Word, we can have those things that God has promised.